so this looks like a very developed game. I've played a little bit of Tyler's deck, and for those of you that don't know, it's an Eidolon deck through and through, like Brain Maggot, no Boon Satyr, but Courser of Crewfix, Minion, Primeval Bounty, it's a Sphere of Safety deck.
Yeah.
So I don't particularly like his chances game 1 against.
Especially not game 1, but I do like. I mean, his game 2 and 3 can get a lot better.
Yeah, I definitely don't count him as a dog in the match, but I think game 1, Aaron's just going to have too many relevant spells, and Tyler's not going to have enough. Is how I think this game is going to
be. Definitely. And as we see now, though, I mean, he does have several tokens left from his Elspeth, and then we also see a Farika on boards with 2 really good spells against the blue-white deck.
Yeah, I mean, 2 really good players here doing Magic battles, so this is bound to be a great match.
A grindy one at that, too.
For sure, yeah, we're definitely going to be here for a minute.
So if you're just tuning in, we are well into game 1 of our round 4, Tyler Gardner versus Aaron Fisher. Kind of an interesting matchup, but game 1, I think it's definitely favored for the blue-white control, but we do see a lot of permanents on board that are good. Maybe he has several power on board, and then Farika.
Yeah. Just so we know. We're going to go get some live totals for you guys because we came in late, so we haven't been able to calculate. We don't know how close Aaron Fisher is to death or how far away from it he is. Maybe Tyler's at 1 life. We don't even know.
So it's actually 20 to 21. We weren't that far off.
Okay. Yeah. Just kidding. We were keeping track the whole time.
Looks like a Banishing Light. Banishing Light's probably going to target the Detention Sphere there and get back his Elspeth, so really sweet play there.
Yeah, Banishing Light for sure. Yeah, great. Oh, he's going to get to draw a card off his Eidolon as well. So we got a couple triggers, a draw trigger and a exile trigger.
Combat for 3, but we do have Mutavaults on Aaron's side of the board. Probably going to be blocking the 2 non-death touching ones, and then we're going to take 1 from the Death Toucher. I might have just wanted to see an attack there from a single Death Touch guy, and then if he wants to trade the Mutavault, that's fine because he traded no cards for a Mutavault. So Tyler looks like he's in a good position here if Aaron doesn't have the removal spell for the Elspeth again.
Yeah, I mean...
And even if he does, he has a draw engine on board.
Yeah, Aaron can get to the point where Elspeth just won't matter because he'll be able to recur Serene Verdicts every turn, but we're not sure if that's actually going to be the case this game.
Your job. So Supreme Verdict will take care of most of the field there, but we do still have a Freak and Elspeth on board.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, I didn't mean to count Tyler as a total dog game 1. His threats are very resilient. I just think that generally what Aaron's doing is a little better, even though Tyler's deck definitely has a lot of game to it in every matchup.
Yeah, they want to go. They both the decks want to go to late game, but I think Aaron's deck being able to draw significantly more cards than the
he's just going to
deck.
see. There's more possibilities for Aaron. He's going to see a lot more.
Looks like we saw a combat there on the Elspeth, bringing her down to I think 1.
Possibly, yeah. It's Mutavault there for. It's just going to town on Planeswalkers.
Courser Crewfix. So hopefully he's starting another card draw engine here. In order to get a draw card, playing Overguard Tune off the top.
Shocking.
Elspeth making some more dudes, and probably just see a pass there. Don't see why you would overextend.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many cards are in Aaron's hand right now, but it's got to be a revelation coming up sometime soon.
At least we'd hope so. He's seen more than a quarter of his
graveyard
deck.
is deep. See another land. One thing Aaron will have to watch out for, though, is this matchup is one where you very realistically could win via them decking and your own Elixir of Immortality activations. Something he'll have to watch out for is not tapping out when he could lose his Elixir to an Abrupt Decay.
Definitely. So yeah, this is like one of the only decks that actually has a main board removal spell against the Abrupt Decay. Other ones including Jund Control, but not a ton of decks have a lot of removal for it, so you can't tap out.
Yeah, I mean, most people just don't see that card as a legitimate win con when it actually just is. It's just impractical to win the game that way for several reasons.
So you see another verdict, and then looks like a combat stuff with the Elspeth trying to take care of that. We might have a response. But we see an Abrupt Decay on the Farika, and we're going to make a Death Touch, dude.
Yeah, that is kind of a sucky card for Blue-White to deal with.
The Abrupt Decay?
Yeah, just if you could counter it, it would be so much more reasonable. But it is busted.
It is a very good card. It's not just a Golgari, one part of a Golgari Charm against him. So yeah, really good play there from Tyler. I mean, just being able to stop his Elspeth from dying and then also getting back his Farika. And with his Farika now, he's going to be drawing several cards a turn, just putting in enchantment snakes if he does have creatures in his graveyard. So we'll see an Elspeth of his own here from Aaron, and just probably put out some blockers, and then also Jace Architect Thought, not a bad.
Yeah, great against 1/1s.
Yeah. So kind of stonewalling Tyler here for a moment, not going to be able to get through much damage, but he is going to still keep his card draw engine going. Put in a Death Touch Snake, draw a card. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how the junk deck is going to beat Jace. I don't know if they play the Hero's Downfall main board.
Thoughtseize that last verdict. Thoughtseize while it's still hot.
Is that the Downfall? No, Banishing Light. Oh, that's the card. There's the card that is.
Yeah, Downfall might be too hard on the mana for this deck. I know he plays 1 in the sideboard.
Banishing Light definitely a better answer, though.
Yeah,
because
I mean, synergize as well and effectively does the same thing.
We could always see a D-Sphere on Banishing Light, and that would just be devastating.
That is true. That will be very good if Aaron ever gets to do that. He will Detention Sphere the Banishing Lights. Tyler could always Abrupt Decay the Banishing Light that he targets to break the Detention Sphere, but he would still get back that thing under the Banishing Light that he Abrupt Decayed himself.
This is just such an awkward matchup. So many permanents on the board, and nobody's doing anything, really. I mean, nobody's really... The board state is being progressed in the sense that there's stuff happening, but life totals aren't changing.
Yeah, like
they're just drawing cards.
Doing things, but things aren't getting done.
So another verdict from Aaron Fisher there.
Yeah.
See some more tokens come out. Still has to answer that Elspeth eventually, though. Not a ton of ways left in his deck that he can do so, but He's going to need to see one soon, otherwise that emblem can just get out of control.
Yeah, with the 1/1 Death Touchers. I mean, usually the blue-white deck can just Wrath every turn, and Elspeth may be at 7, 8, or 9, but they won't be able to really make the emblem because they won't have any guys in play to attack with. And if they ever let up one turn from making guys, they'll get their Elspeth attack back on the backswing. So emblem might not do anything here, but in this matchup, could be better since he has Farika.
Is that a Primeval Bounty?
Yes,
Also
it is.
another problem card for Aaron Fisher. The life gain not doing as much, but just being able to create 3/3s for essentially nothing, and then also put counters on your dudes to make them bigger.
Yeah, just value down.
Nice guy, Aaron, giving him actual soldier tokens.
Very gentlemanly. Just makes it easy to keep track of. Classic divination.
Yeah, in the top deck war, I definitely think the blue-white control deck's in favor there. But it doesn't look like Aaron's drawing too much gas. But then we see the revelation. There it is. That's the card we wanted to see, though. Looks like he's draw 5, gain 5.
Yeah, just doing a main phase to just hit a land. There's no reason not to, because if Tyler had a Thoughtseize, he was going to Thoughtseize Aaron anyway, to which Aaron would respond with a revelation, so he's not really losing anything by tapping out here.
Yeah, and his life total obviously isn't threatened enough.
Yeah.
Tyler can't do 25 damage next turn. He can do 25 damage in a turn, but not this next turn. Yeah, not really sure how this game's going to end, but pretty sure it's going to be with life totals well above.
Yes, someone will deck. We know that much.
Just a matter of fact, if Tyler can get the Elixir of Immortality out of play somehow.
Okay, so here we got a bunch of tradesies. Tyler attacking with his soldiers and his death touchers.
This is kind of something awkward that I saw a lot at the Pro Tour that I was watching too. This most recent one is that a lot of the best decks were playing Elspeth, but then it would just come down to Elspeth versus Elspeth in some cases. And it's just whoever top decks better from that point. But I mean, just trading 1/1s for 1/1s.
Yeah, doing a whole lot of nothing basically. I mean,
yeah.
If you can manage to draw other threats, like you said, then that emblem becomes real. Another divination here. Oh, finally.
So you do see a detention sphere.
So he's going to get back another detention sphere for the targeting.
I'm guessing that the other detention sphere is just going to go on the Elspeth. Possibly the sphere safety. I know Aaron Fisher can just elixir to win, but he might just want to end this game from
definitely.
By attacking.
I think that it's right if you can to always end the game via attacking, just for being a decent human being and time's sake. It's just best, but the elixir plan is something he definitely can do here if he wants to.
And Elspeth, I don't think has been threatened too much. I think she's at 5, so it is very realistic that if he has a verdict here, he can D-sphere the Elspeth verdict and then put in 3 more dudes, and then in a couple turns he will be able to swing for lethal.
Yeah.
With that, barring the removal spell from Tyler's hand. But it looks like instead, do we see a D-Sphere on the soldier tokens?
Yeah. Or were those tokens made by Farika?
No, he definitely didn't have that many tokens made by Farika. I'm fairly sure it was just the soldier tokens. Fact or fiction here from Jace that he just got back. Looks like a Last Breath, Divination, and a Counterspell. But
Was that Divination?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I think it was the...
I just thought it was a Quicken, but they both draw cards.
Both draw
Same
cards.
Thing. It was a Divination. So
and there's the Elixir.
Now he's going to play it. Definitely excited to get his graveyard back in his deck. I know he's cast a lot of 6 spells this game. Tyler with Mana Bloom in his hand. Oh, and just looking for a reason to concede, and Aaron gives it to him. She flashes a Dissolve, Rev, some junk.
So Aaron taking that one. Kind of a really dirty game, which is what is kind of expected from these two decks, as well as these two players. Both players like playing the grindy control decks.
Yeah, and just slightly grindier that game. Got him.
Yeah, I think the Sphinx's Revelation and the D-Sphere on the Banishing Lights, like obviously being a really key play there.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of
sick.
Not a lot of plays that were like really surprising, like getting a lot of X for ones. It was just kind of, getting to the point where you can Sphinx to Rev or draw Sphinx to Rev and then go from there.
Yeah,
which is what we kind of expected.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tyler's deck not really the best at threatening the control player's life totals, but hopefully post board we'll see a change in that.
He gets to side out anything that he doesn't think is good enough. Like Sylvan Caryatid is mediocre.
Very mediocre.
It doesn't do a whole lot. Terrible top deck. Mana Bloom also maybe a little superfluous. I mean, it can lead to like early Elspeth, but I don't think that's the way that this mid-range deck beats Aaron's control deck.
Yeah. Also, like a ton of enchantments that don't necessarily do anything either, like the Sphere Safety. Maybe not the best card, depending on what Aaron brings in his sideboard. So he might be siding out some amount of those and just siding in more threat density. Yeah,
just siding into more of a mid-range value deck. Junk. I know he has Hero's Downfalls in his sideboard. He has no Obsidian, no Blood Baron, nothing like that he can side in.
Yeah, but
definitely some more robust cards he can bring in, so he doesn't have to mess around with Mana Bloom and Sphere of Safety, like you said.
Yeah, I think against the Junk Eidolon deck is one of the times that Aaron has actually decided to his creature sideboard, so we might get to see that. I've seen before Brimaz and Archangel of Thune come in, so maybe we'll see both of those and then kind of just go on the beatdown plan.
Does he play both of those?
He does play both of those,
They're going to be so good.
Or at least he has played both of them before.
Yeah.
I have seen them, so definitely could be very good here. Just playing a Brimaz, maybe if he doesn't have the Abrupt Decay, or even if he does have the Abrupt Decay, just playing an Archangel later, and then that's probably enough of a tempo play that the Junk deck can't really come back from.
They're going to be really good here. I mean, Brimaz lines up so well against Tyler's deck. I mean, he can't effectively block it with anything.
Yeah, and Archangel of Thune just being able to not be hit by any removal spells besides Hero's Downfall.
Yeah.
And then is also a flyer because
that pressures Planeswalkers very well. It makes Mutavaults huge. I mean, Archangel does it all.
Yeah, and then Tyler's deck also doesn't play any sort of flyer that I can think of. So he's got to have a real tough time with that.
Mostly outside of spot removal, he can always Wrath with Elspeth, but it's not the most reliable thing against the counterspell deck.
Definitely not. So hopefully a couple cool sideboard cards coming in from both players. Yeah, not as much from the Junk deck, I don't think, but maybe just getting to side in, side out his less optimal cards and side in. Maybe a little slightly edgy, more better cards, just higher power level cards, stuff that doesn't dirtle as much.
Just stuff to kind of the concise cards that do very specific things.
And maybe Thoughtseizes too. Is one that I kind of overlooked. Is just Thoughtseize can be just a devastating card against control if you just take their one relevant card in their hands.
Or Brain Maggot might not seem very good in this matchup, but it probably is because with that card you tend to just take the counterspell right before you want to resolve something.
Right.
Something resilient. So, Brain Maggot's probably going to be decent.
Yeah, Reaper of the Wilds actually doesn't seem bad either.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
even
not
if
at
he
all.
keeps in Supreme Verdict, like it kind of blanks all the rest of the blue-white decks removal spells.
Yeah, Reaper is legitimate.
So let's see where we're at there, though.
Alright.
Actually, well underway in our game. We see a Thoughtseize on Aaron Fisher's hand. It looks like I see a Revelation. Is it an Elixir? Do we see an Elixir there? I'm going to actually check that.
so.
It is.
It is an Elixir?
Yeah.
Maybe you're right.
So Tyler could just decide to nap this thing in the booty right now. Get that elixir. He's picked up the rev. He's going to take the rev. Also looking at a Jace. I mean, there's a statement Tyler's making here, and he thinks the game is going to go on long enough to where that revelation will matter. So he's just going to go ahead and take it now before it becomes a problem at all. Because even a rev for 3 is it's potentially a 3-for-1, and now Aaron's just going to play his elixir and not risk losing it to any more hand disruption effects. Tyler with kind of a funny card on top of his deck. I'm not sure the card title. All I know is its effect, and when you cast this spell and it resolves, you reveal the top 6 cards of your library, and you put up to 3 enchantments from among them into your hand. So yeah, potentially very, very, very good. Aaron just taking care of that Courser right now before it provides any sort of card advantage. We'll see when we spin the wheel what this hits. So it looks like we got two cards off that. We got a God and a Banishing Light, I believe. That could be a Sphere of Safety, but I'm pretty sure it's a Banishing Light. Tyler's scrying. Not sure what he's looking for. Aaron missing on land there. Pretty harsh. Aaron dissolving. Probably would dissolve anything at this point just to scry. He really needs a hit land drop. Still no gas. Alright, scry leaving on top. Most likely a land. Maybe just more dissolves. Just trying to chain dissolves this game. Nah, we're gonna play Jace here. Likely minusing just to play around any sort of Banishing Light type effects. Hero's Downfall. Here, I definitely take the pile of 2 because that Aetherling is likely to not be relevant for at least 3 or 4 more turns. So I like Aaron's choice there to take the land and syncopate.
Where are we at? How are we doing?
So we had Aaron Fisher miss 2 consecutive land drops.
So pretty rough there. But I see a JSON board. Has he been able to Factor Fiction from that?
Yes, he just cast it in Factor Fiction.
All right. So I mean, not terrible position, but still probably looking for lands here.
And he's just cashing it in, just more lands. So now we have. Okay, he just takes the rev. He's got lands.
It's not a bad call by any means.
Yeah, and Tyler's hand just, not doing a whole lot right now.
We see a Council of the Absolute.
That is hilarious.
I'm gonna
By
actually
the
go
way.
get a call or see what that is actually naming.
That is hilarious. Elspeth. Let me guess. Yeah, Elspeth. Okay. Now we have a Mirror Breaker. So that is some business right there.
Council Absolute actually seems pretty good in this matchup if you just name their one relevant threat.
Yeah, I don't know how Tyler removes it from play outside of his one hero's downfall. I don't think he has anything. He has Putrefy in his sideboard, but fairly certain that's not in the deck.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Tyler actually beats, not just like beating Council the Absolute, but how he beats not being able to play Elspeth. I don't think his clock is fast enough to let the just like blue-white deck just sit here and dirtle forever.
The Elspeth on Tyler's side really punishes Aaron's dirtling. The more he tries to dirtle, the more effective Elspeth is going to be. So Tyler probably bemoaning giving Aaron more lands because he knows about the revelation in his hand.
But I don't think he necessarily has a choice. It's kind of interesting from Aaron Fisher's side, though, to actually not keep open 2 mana with his Elixir in play. Maybe he doesn't feel threatened.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, Aetherling is at the bottom of his deck. So there's that. But he does have Elspeth. So he does not need that Elixir. It's just a luxury that he may or may not afford this game.
But definitely looking good from Aaron Fisher's side. Just keeping the Council Absolute back. Not blocking the Death Touch Dude, obviously, but still being able to get in damage, maybe. And then naming Tyler's most relevant card. So you see Abrupt Decay on the Detention Sphere, and getting back his Courser or Crucifix. I wonder if we're going to go to blocks or if we're going to see possibly... Oh, yeah, we did see a block, but it's just going to go to Tyler's turn.
What are the stats on that council?
I think it's a 2-4 as well.
It's a 2-4? Okay.
So they kind of just bounce off each other.
Yeah.
No real combat damage being done, but... Saves Tyler 2 life, gets back his Courser, which he wanted anyway.
Firing up Mutavault. Oh.
So we activate Mutavault block and then Revelate? Is that what I
Yes.
saw there?
How do you determine who goes up?
What's up?
How do you determine who goes up?
Well, they didn't tell me the round started, so I think the person who's closest to the table.
Aaron cashing in that Jace.
Which I think is a responsible play. I mean, he probably has more threats in hands. He doesn't actually need the Jace on board.
Yeah, taking a
I just-
divination. I mean, after a revelation, he's probably got some lands in his hand.
Definitely.
And Tyler just never really drawing anything very substantial this game.
Yeah, no action. Not what we expected from the junk deck post board. I mean, we'd hope to see some more threat density, but didn't get to see it yet.
I mean, Council of the Absolute. Was that on your radar?
It was not. Actually, I did see it last week, but I just forgot about it. I thought it was just a funny card.
I wouldn't think you could ever forget about that. I wish it were played in more dramatic fashion because it's quite the card.
I remember last standard, I just had a really tough time against the what's it called? I've talked about it multiple times. Naya Blitz deck.
Yeah.
And so in my Bant Flash deck, I sided in Lavinia of the 10th
Yeah.
to
Okay.
to detain
Hey,
all their guys.
Credit where credit is due. I think it was me that told you to put that in there,
It-
and then a progenitor mimic to mimic it every turn.
It
after
may
that.
or may not have been with the help of Dante over here, but
I
that
do
card
remember
was super funny.
that. I know, Lavinia. Wow.
Only came into play
Wow.
twice, but when it did, it was actually kind of backbreaking.
Yeah, I wish that card was still playable. There's no decks that really warrant that.
Yeah,
but
and I mean, as we see
Brave
here,
Naya,
like
maybe, but
Council of Absolute is actually insane right here.
yeah, it's pretty
Blanking a
busted.
card in Tyler's hand, and then I mean, if he ever does get to cast Elspeth, he gets to cast it for 4 less mana. He gets to keep open a bunch for counter spells or whatever.
Blue-white
Seems fit.
multicolored cards, not usually creatures, but here, these creatures are doing work.
Yeah, and I think from this point, Tyler's going to have a very tough time coming back if he can. But that Underworld Connections, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's
a start.
It's not nothing. I mean, if Aaron does not pick this game up, it's unlikely that they'll be able to come to a conclusion that results in a win for
Right.
either player. They will probably draw.
Yeah, we're already at 15 minutes, and this is essentially the start of a game 2
Yeah.
for these control decks. So probably not going to be able to finish a game 3, but I think this one's favored for the blue-white deck at this point.
Oh, what's he syncopated there?
Looks like a...
Abrupt decay?
They cannot be an Abrupt Decay. But then we see an Underworld Connections land, no matter what the threat was. And we'll see him draw a card.
Wait, did he seriously syncopate an abrupt decay?
I don't think he did. There's no
There's
way.
an abrupt decay in the graveyard.
I see an Abrupt Decay in the graveyard. But there's nothing for him to Abrupt Decay. There's no permanence on the board for him to
Where did that? What did he syncopate?
I have
Oh.
no idea.
If you syncopate something, it wouldn't go to the graveyard. Okay, that's making more sense to me now.
There we go.
Okay, I knew that didn't add up quite right.
We see a D10 sphere, probably hitting that Underworld Connections. Definitely hitting that Underworld Connections.
I heard a statistic once that Underworld Connections beats Control 9 times out of 10. This must be one of those times where it doesn't.
I've actually seen a mono black deck go down to 4 cards in their library against a control deck and win from that point.
That's
Kind of funny, just like the control deck not being able to ever finish the game because the black deck just had the answers all the time and then just
Yeah.
ended up winning from Gray Merchants.
Yeah. Odd.
Odd.
But,
Certainly odd.
yeah, I can't say that I've ever seen that deck win that way.
I mean, if you Gray Merchant enough, you could definitely draw your whole deck. Thoughtsei's not a bad draw here from Tyler, but
Yeah, just more ineffective as the game goes on.
I definitely like it as the turn 4 to 5 play where you're just trying to resolve one of your most relevant threats.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little later than that, but definitely like earlier on in the game where your threat is most likely going to resolve.
Oh, and now we see here.
Another Sphinx Revelation, it looks like for 5, bringing Aaron to 27.
Aaron just going to show.
Looks like we discarded another Sphinx Revelation.
Yeah, and Aaron's hand's still just full of the gas.
Yeah, and I think Tyler's sitting on a couple cards like Krufix's Insight and then Elspeth. So can't cast the Elspeth and then Krufix's Insight. I'm guessing. I don't know why he's not playing that right now. Maybe
Maybe he's legitimately concerned about decking.
he might be.
And
Oh, we had an ultimate for a Jace.
okay.
I think is what we saw there. So he's going to cast something from Tyler's deck and from his own. I think the best threat is probably just an Elspeth. I wouldn't see why we would cast anything but that. But
It costs 2 less.
it costs 2 less for free. But it looks like we got a Primeval Bounty instead. So don't know how Tyler's going to end up dealing with that. Gain 3 life a turn seems pretty good.
Yeah.
See what is supposed to be the aggressive deck in this matchup. And we see an Elspeth come down from Aaron. So.
And Elspeth and Tyler's hand and no way to get it onto the stack. That is funny. So that Council of the Absolute has been on the battlefield for many turns now.
I think it's been, yeah, at least like 6 or 7,
Many
maybe even
turns now.
more. I think he cast it on his like turn 6.
Yeah,
He had like 1 open mana.
Last Breath actually very good in this matchup for Aaron Fisher. It gets Courser. It gets an Eidolon of Blossoms. He does not. Tyler does not play Mutavault, does he?
I don't think Tyler does play Mutavault, but I think it'd be a cool inclusion for the deck.
Yeah, it could be depending. I mean, it depends on how shaky his mana base is already. But yeah, between Courser and Eidolon of Blossoms, the Last Breath is.
Well, the 3-color decks now can like pretty easily run Courser, or not Courser Griffins, can run Mutavault if they're also running Mana Confluence. Mana Confluence kind of gives them the ability to mana fix better while still playing colorless lands.
Yeah.
Sometimes, though, you still draw all your Blood Crypts or all your Temple Gardens and not see your 3rd color.
Yeah, it's just part of the game.
I think we just saw a psych there. I'm not sure if Tyler went for the handshake and then psyched him.
out?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Very, very bad form, Tyler. I do love saying psych, though.
So we see a 5/5 Mutavault from the Primeval Bounty, and that's not terrible.
I prepped to get that.
This is where I might like to see an Encroaching Waste come in from Tyler's side of the...
Yeah, I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that one of Encroaching Waste.
The one of Encroaching Waste.
Wow, we don't know if it's just a one of.
Get rid of that Mutavault. That is now a 5/5 whenever it's activated. Yeah, Primeval Bounty is actually pretty good for Aaron's deck. Each time he's casting a spell, getting
Last
counters
breath
on his
there.
guys. Tyler already can't get rid of the Council of the Absolute, and then the Council of Absolute's going to get like to be like a 7/9 or even bigger. Looks like we're doing some math here. Go get life tools. We are actually 37-15, so quickly taking this one home. Aaron Fisher is giving Tyler no chances to really come back from this one. Both decks ending the game with half their permanents on the board, as we'd expect from both the decks.
Very thin libraries.
Psychs all over the place. Tyler really
Is really faking Aaron out.
kind of being playful here, realizing that maybe this is his last couple turns playing this Magic game. Asking for a draw, possibly, so they both have a chance at top 8. No
Maybe
activation of the
hoping the
5/5.
ceiling falls on Aaron's head.
That's what I saw last turn. I couldn't figure it out. He played a Farika, and Legend ruled his own Farika so he could make a snake this turn to block.
Oh, okay. Just a little quick and div here for Aaron.
Quick and Div is actually pretty sweet play too. Seeing 3 cards
Yeah,
at
pretty
instant speed.
busted. Yeah. Well, it allows you to keep up in your counter magic is the best part about it.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't have to decide, well, I have 3 mana. Am I going to dissolve? Am I going to dissipate? Am I going to syncopate? Am I going to divination? Am I going to think twice?
That's a lot of D20 on the field too. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but it looks like he has a bunch of 3/3 tokens, and this might be lethal.
Tyler just trying to eat up a few more minutes on stream.
We see a pass from Tyler. Death Touch taking care of those 3-3s, 4-4s.
It's like Tyler's got one more good turn in him.
He's at 5. He might be able to last another turn. He's got thoughts himself.
Just to get a little more.
Hopefully get rid of that Elspeth that's just been sitting in his hand the whole game.
He's
It will hit the Elspeth. There we are. And he is sitting with basic planes. Checking out his graveyard, making sure he has.
He actually put his graveyard into his hand. If I'm not, oh no, he's got his hand down there.
All right, what are we thinking here? What's the play here from Tyler to get out of this one?
I would just keep asking for a draw.
Is that his only out at this point?
Yeah.
Hopefully we won't see a lethal swing from Aaron here, and it'll just come down to the fact that we are almost at time.
Tyler organizing his lands, David Ochoa style. Aaron attacking with one guy.
And hopefully playing an instant or sorcery here.
He's going to quicken. Put some counters on that guy. Tyler instructing Aaron where to put his counters.
Definitely just
maybe a little
up
misdirection.
time here.
He's going to Fated Retribution and dissolve it.
His own Fated Retribution, putting
get a little more counters.
6 counters on his Council of the Absolute.
Now we have a 1919 Council of the Absolute.
And we're going to Last Breath target our Soldier token.
In response, he's going to get a trigger, and the Last Breath will fizzle.
Yes, and so he's still gonna. He's actually not gonna gain 4 life, sadly enough. But yeah, he
won't. But he will be attacking for lethal on the plus side.
So he's gonna take 4 here,
and we have a not psych concession.
That brings Tyler to a whopping -1, and that will be the game. So kind of how we thought the games would kind of play out. 2 games taking an entire 50 minutes. Not unlikely for both of these decks, both playing kind of a dirtily control decks. But kind of going the way we thought. The junk deck not being threat dense enough or can't attack the blue-white deck's life total fast enough to where their Sphinx of Revelations are just going to kind of get out of control and then just take the game from there.
Yeah, the junk deck to me seems a little bit more smooth. Its plays are a lot more smooth, like I said. It plays like a creature that's a 2/2 that draws a card, and that's sort of his card advantage. Then he'll play a Banishing Light and draw a card and get your guy, whereas Aaron's deck has very many very impactful top decks.
Right.
So a little bit more staggering. Like Aaron could go from 1 life, no cards in hand, to drawing a Sphinx's Revelation and completely ending the game on the spot, whereas Tyler doesn't really have that sort of top deck in generic scenarios.
So yeah, definitely favored for the blue-white deck there, and as we saw, he was able to finally take it. Maybe those last couple turns didn't need to take as long as they did, but kind of a funny non-concession. Seeing 23 threes on the board, or 4 4s and a Council of the Absolute.
I had fun.
Council of the Absolute was actually pretty good there.
Yeah,
surprisingly enough.
I just don't know when else it's going to be that good. I mean, it's great.
Against other Sphinx's Revelation decks, maybe.
Yeah, I mean...
And it's non-legendary. That is very important. Non-legendary creature, so we can have 2 on the board, Native Supreme Verdict and Sphinx's Revelation, and just kind of go from there.
Match and just, gosh, you don't even understand how good that card is until you have it played against you.
Definitely. All right,
Really.
Well, we'll be back with our round 5 in just a little bit, so stay tuned. Hey Twitch, that's actually all we're gonna bring you tonight.